Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning. It's 6 o'clock here on your Tuesday. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. We woke up to some rain this morning.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely drove in with the windshield wipers on. So, Thomas, we've got you here with us tracking the rain. Where is it now?
Yeah, more than a little bit. Got more than a third of an inch of rain from last night and this morning. Still just lingering around the core of the inland northwest, though we're just seeing this fade a bit as of 6 a.m. and should not last for too much longer here. So as we look at Doppler radar right now, just kind of look at the back edge. I'm noticing that it's about this line over Lincoln and Adams County. When that passes through, we will see an end to the current rainfall for the remainder of the day. I think that'll pass through at around 8 a.m. in Spokane, give it until maybe 9 a.m. at the latest for Coeur d'Alene. So really just a morning rainfall here that will give way to a drier afternoon. After that, well, we'll be tracking more rain later on in the week. So do make sure to use the windshield wipers and maybe even grab the umbrella if you have to get outside before 8 a.m.
Thank you, Thomas. Let's take a live look at traffic now at I-90 and Jefferson this morning. This is right near downtown Spokane, and you can see the biggest thing here on our roads this morning is that they're wet. So be very careful with those potential slick road conditions this morning. Other than that, as for actual congestion or backups, we're not seeing anything across our region right now. We also want to get to that breaking news this morning. Former Vice President Dick Cheney died. He was 84.
Cheney was the 46th vice president, serving along former President George W. Bush for 2 terms.
In 2000, Dick Cheney was asked by George W. Bush to help pick his running mate. In the end, it was Cheney's name that rose to the top of the list.
He really wanted me to come on board because he thought I could help govern, be part of his team, and that he wanted me involved in everything.
Richard Bruce Cheney was born in 1941 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and grew up in Wyoming. He married his high school sweetheart, Lynn, with whom he had 2 daughters. In his late 20s, he moved to Washington, D.C., where he became President Gerald Ford's chief of staff at age 34. In 1978, he won his first of 6 terms in the U.S. House, representing Wyoming.
I take this obligation freely.
He became Secretary of Defense for President George H.W. Bush in 1989, overseeing the U.S. victory in the First Gulf War. In 1995, Cheney became CEO of Halliburton, the world's largest oilfield services company. It made him a multimillionaire. In 2000, he left the company to join the Republican ticket.
This election is about real choices, that we are talking about the future of our nation.
The bitter presidential contest was decided in Bush and Cheney's favor by a 5-4 decision of the Supreme Court. The September 11, 2001 attacks were the defining moment for the new administration. As the U.S. went to war in Afghanistan, Cheney also urged military action against Iraq.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
Baghdad fell just 3 weeks after the U.S. invasion in 2003, but the alleged weapons of mass destruction were never found, and American forces began a long, deadly occupation. Even so, the Bush-Cheney team made national security the centerpiece of the 2004 re-election campaign.
Because if we make the wrong choice, then the danger is that we'll get hit again.
They won in a close election, but as the situation in Iraq disintegrated and U.S. casualties mounted, public opinion turned against the administration.
George Bush has got to go!
Cheney suffered multiple heart attacks, his first at age 37. He received a new heart in 2012.
You wake up every morning with a smile on your face because you've got a new day you never expected to have.
Dick Cheney, a man who was both soft-spoken and unyielding, became one of the most powerful vice presidents in American history. Major Garrett, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up in our next half hour, we are taking a look back at Vice President Cheney's visit to Spokane back in 2006.
Well, today is Election Day. In Washington State, that means your ballot needs to be in a ballot drop box or postmarked by 8 p.m. today.
That is very important. And in Idaho, polls open at 8 a.m. We'll get two elections in Idaho in just a bit. But first, we do want to start with Spokane County. 2 big initiatives on the ballot this year are the Spokane Public Schools Bond and the Spokane Parks Levy. The school district and the Parks Department partnered actually for this vote, and they're calling the partnership Together Spokane. You won't actually see the name Together Spokane on your ballot, though. But if both the school bond and the park levy pass, they will complete 30 community projects.
Some of those projects would be a new public pool, more soccer fields and tennis courts, and having community spaces at new schools. If both pass, it would cost the average homeowner about an extra $8 a month. If only one of the initiatives passes, they would move forward with individual projects, but not those 30 extras. All right, moving on to City Council now. Seats in Districts 1, 2, and 3 are on the ballot. Remember, you will only see one of these on your ballot if you live in that district. In District 1, incumbent Jonathan Bingle is running against Sarah Dixit.
District 2 is an open seat. Councilmember Lily Navarrete stepped down earlier this year over health concerns. Alejandro Barrientos and Kate Tellis are running to fill the seat. And in District 3, current Councilmember Zach Sapone is running against Christopher Savage. With the election here this morning, KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones joining us now live in Spokane County.
So Brandon, you recently spoke with the elections office. What should we all know as we get ready to turn in our ballots?
Yeah, good morning, Tim, Nicole. Well, just a few reminders, and the main one being to get those ballots in before 8 p.m. That's when drop-box locations officially close. You can find those drop-box locations here at the elections office. We also have a full list with every single one of those sites on our website right now, KREM.com. So as of right now, you still got about 14 hours or so in the day to get those ballots turned in. Yesterday, I got a chance to speak with Vicki Dalton, the Spokane County Elections Auditor. A reminder that came from that conversation: today you can still register in person to vote. You just have to make sure you get to a voter service center such as the elections office or the Center Place Regional Event Center out in Spokane Valley. Again, the deadline for that is also at 8 p.m. And with this non-presidential election, I asked about voter turnout in the county.
Well, we're hoping to at least break 40%. We have our fingers crossed on that. And so, you know, if people will dig through their mail, find their ballot, look at their voter's pamphlet, make decisions on some, you don't have to do all the races, get that ballot marked, get it back into us.
Another note, as you turn in those ballots, make sure you sign the return envelope properly with your name. And then once Dropbox closes tonight, unofficial election results will be available around 8:15 p.m. The election is then certified on November 25th. So we'll have coverage throughout the day with our crews following election day coverage. But for now, reporting live here in Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Thank you, Brandon. And coming up in our next half hour, we'll let you know what voters in North Idaho need to know before heading to the polls.
New in the last 12 hours, Washington State joined more than 20 other states suing the U.S. Department of Education over changes to the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. The program allows government and nonprofit employees to apply for student loan forgiveness after 10 years of service. The lawsuit claims a new federal rule unfairly limits which government agencies and nonprofits qualify. The states argue the change is politically motivated and could cost public servants thousands in loan relief. As of now, the Department of Education says the rule takes effect in July of 2026.
The Post Falls man who pleaded guilty to shooting and killing his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend will now spend the rest of his life in prison. Jason Rook killed Nathan Rogers back in February. Our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press say Rook apologized to Rogers' family before yesterday's sentencing. Rook pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and stalking. In exchange for those guilty pleas, prosecutors agreed to take the death penalty off the table.
Spokane's police chief is addressing misconduct by two of his former officers who he says had inappropriate relationships with survivors of domestic violence while on duty. The officers have since resigned. Chief Hall sending a statement acknowledging the misconduct investigation and reassured, quote, the Spokane Police Department will continue to serve the community with honor and integrity. Chief Hall did not name the two officers or describe the allegations in his statement.
Well, new this morning, the Spokane Valley Police Department says their automated license plate reader helped them find a stolen license plate. On Sunday morning, deputies got an ALPR alert about a stolen license plate. They found the car in a parking lot along Broadway Avenue. Deputies eventually figured out who parked the car there and tried to talk to them, but they ran away. deputies arrested both of those people. In the vehicle, deputies found a loaded weapon and a bag of meth.
At 6:10, here's our day planner for this Tuesday. Rain to start the day, but not going to last for very much longer here. I think by 8 a.m. we'll be finished with the rain in Spokane, and by 9 or 10 a.m. at the latest for North Idaho. After that, a dry remainder of this Tuesday. Meanwhile, temperatures are fairly cool at about 37 to 38 degrees. Just warm enough to keep everything as rain as opposed to snow as of the morning hours. And it has been a soaking wet morning since it's rained about a third of an inch to almost 4/10 of an inch. A little bit of just some light rain or drizzle currently over Spokane. Again, give it about 2 more hours worth of rain before we're in the clear.